So, as I was saying in October, greetings, fellow seekers of truth, wisdom, and light. This is your friendly neighborhood esoteric practitioner, Reverend Eliot, coming to you, and this is a novelty, live tonight. I think I missed all of November, and I'll explain why. And it has nothing to do with Twitter and my wheelings and dealings in cryptocurrency. None of that, because none of that makes any sense. I don't buy anything I can't touch. You know, it's that simple. And sometimes you can touch things you rent, but that could get you in trouble too. Do you know what I learned? I learned a very important lesson while I was out ill. And I'll tell you what, I was not necessarily ill. I was incredibly sleepy. I'll tell you what happened is, and some of you know about this, I have a couple of ridiculous chronic medical conditions that they don't bother me for the most part. But now and then they'll flare up every few years, because I'm lucky. It used to be every night, but I had some doctors who got it under control. And it causes intense stabbing pain in like one little teeny point in your body. It's like somebody's taking a red-hot needle and poking you with it. And that happens every couple of minutes. So it's not continuous pain. If I had continuous pain, I would have had no problem joining you every Wednesday at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific. But since this kind of sneaks up on you and jabs you, I would have interrupted every couple of minutes with incredible shrieks of agony. Now, the only way to deal with that incredible shriek of agony, if I want to put it aside, is with some truly heavy-duty painkillers. I mean, I'm on some lists that the New York State government keeps of people who use particular drugs, legally uses them, and so that's just the police state stuff. But they just want to keep track of people with pain relief. And that was the big problem, because this kind of pain will only last a day or so at most. The most I've ever had it happen is 2 days. But the effect of the painkillers will make me sick for a week. I mean sick. I mean nauseated. Just I would make the world's worst junkie, because I can't handle narcotics. They just make me so sick. But there comes a point when I needed them, and for the last few weeks, it just came up around the time of the show that I needed it. And by the time the show came along, by the time Wednesday came along, the pain was gone, but I was, believe me, you don't want to tune in to listen to a tarot reader being sick to their stomach on the air. It's not conducive to a good mental outlook. So I had to essentially sleep it off. But I'm coming out of it now. First of all, I'm really lazy. I could use any excuse to sleep. I went for a walk today. That was good. Tell you what happened on my walk. I was walking east here in the charming neighborhood of Hell's Kitchen in New York City, just west of Times Square. And a little boy, probably no more than 9, was walking toward me with his adult caretaker. Just a normal little boy, probably coming home from school. It was after 3 o'clock. And now, when I go out, I wear an eye patch. I have to, because the vision in one eye is so messed up that it interferes with the other eye. And if I'm going out, I want to see as clearly as possible, because we have drivers here in New York who think that things like red lights are a suggestion. So I'm very careful about that. So I go out with an eye patch, and I figured as long as I have to wear an eye patch, I'll get the biggest, nastiest, meanest looking one I could find. And sometimes the reaction is good. I get into bizarre conversations with women who find that rather attractive. So they see no more than my disability, but something. I guess I seem like a swashbuckler, but if they gave it any thought, they'd see that I'm a bad swashbuckler. Am I going to walk around with a button that says, yeah, you should see the other guy? No. So this little boy points at me in astonishment and says, "Are you a pirate?" Now, that's just cute. That's just, you can't beat that. I said to him, "No, I'm not. As a matter of fact, I'm not a pirate." But that sounds like a good idea. Maybe I'll give it a try. Thanks. And he smiled, and we parted company, and now he'll spend the rest of his life thinking that he met a pirate, which is, hey, there you go. But that was my first time out in a while. And if I can't get out and do things, I go stir crazy. And you don't want me talking to a whole bunch of people through Ask One Radio while I'm going stir crazy. So in the wonderful words of Stan Laurel in the movie Blockheads, I'm better now. I am much better now. But the pain is gone. I can only describe the pain to which I'm subjected every few years as where the stories of sticking pins in dolls must have come from. Because that's what it feels like. It feels like somebody is taking a red-hot pin and just sticking it in one teeny little point of the body. But, whoa, does that hurt. So I can either scream my lungs out. That's the other thing. There was one day where I was feeling much better. The pain was gone. The effect of the narcotics wore off. But I couldn't speak because I had been screaming in agony for a day and a half. Oh, man. So, look, that's what happened to me in November. And now today, I was a pirate. But we're back now, and we're going to look at the tarot cards. And I learned some very interesting things because I was following the news, which, of course, is really something. As long as I'm in grotesque agony and pain, I might as well look at the news. What's it going to do to me, right? I noticed that there was a big story on the front page of the New York Times today. We asked experts how people can enjoy the holidays. And I keep thinking, what is wrong with you? Just enjoy life. If you can't enjoy the holidays, don't bother with them. I don't enjoy soccer games, so I don't bother with it. No, you don't. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know why so many people get so upset this time of year. Unless, of course, it occurred to me looking at the news that in order to be what we now call a social justice warrior, the first thing in your life is you must be able to see anything and suck the joy out of it. That's it. Only a social justice warrior could look at a baked potato with sour cream and chives on it and worry about the farmers using too much water to raise chives and sour cream being a stolen a good because it was taken involuntarily from a cow. You just enjoy life. Just enjoy life. If something, I'm not saying be a complete hedonist because we all do things we don't enjoy doing when we have to do them. I just mailed off my electrical utility bill. I don't enjoy doing that, but I do enjoy having electricity. And I use as little of it as possible, not out of a sense of a bloated sense of me saving the planet, but because I don't like it. I prefer candlelight. I prefer oil lamps. I prefer an old look. I'm looking right now at my desk here in the studio at my telephone. It's a candlestick phone, which has now been rendered obsolete for making calls because it has a dial on it. An actual dial, which the phone company people will not recognize anymore. So there used to be a gizmo about the size of just like one of those things that you click to open your car door now from 20 miles away. And it had a touchpad on it. And that was for people who had rotary phones and didn't want to upgrade to touch tone. But believe it or not, this is arcane stuff, but there is a difference between a push button phone and a touch tone phone, which I'm not going to go into now because I've spent way too much time alone lately. So these things occur to me, But that would allow you to dial if you were in a system that used the touch tone system, but you had a rotary phone. And now I can't find those anywhere. I can't even find them at eBay. I don't even know what the hell to call them to find one. But hey, what can you do? I'm a very old-fashioned kind of guy. The only working phonograph we have here, and I do mean phonograph, is a cylinder player. But, we have all of our things on MP3 now, which I hear MP3 is, hey, come on, Gramps, what are you doing with MP3? Stick it in the cloud or something. And I think I might give a very rude answer if somebody said to me, stick it in the cloud. I don't want to go into that now. But what I learned following the news is that the richest man in the world, at least he was before he bought Twitter, I don't know if he still is, the richest man in the world thinks that judging by his tweets, that you make a word plural by adding apostrophe S. And that's heartbreaking. That's just heartbreaking. I know there are people who accuse him of all kinds of evil and all kinds of terrible things, but to me, that's just heartbreaking. That an adult multi-billionaire can't spell. Oh gosh, what are you going to do? So I am ready and eager to get back to going through the magical window of the tarot with you. And I want to say a special thank you to the people who had readings scheduled with me, but were kind enough to understand and defer those readings until I stopped screaming in agony. And I did manage to get out books and soaps and the Mojo Brothers shaving soap. It's still out there. It's a good stocking stuffer, guys. You still have time. Get to mojoacademy.org. Take a look at the shaving soap. And I managed to get that stuff out. The post office has a wonderful service where when you pack something and you buy the postage online, you can schedule a pickup, and of course they never show up. so it was a bit challenging, but we did get it all mailed out. So even if there had been a slight delay or so, if you haven't gotten the stuff that you've ordered from old Uncle Eliot, it's coming soon. It's in the mail. It's on the way. So I'm shuffling up the cards. The cards. Blowing the dust off my tarot cards because it's been a while. I make it a policy not to do any occult work while I'm ill, especially out-of-body experience. While my body is in a traumatized state, I don't think it's a good idea to leave it because I may never get back in. That's the main thing. The other thing is, as I said, I'm just naturally lazy. So I took a month off to scream and yell in agony and let my voice heal. And regardless of what New York State thinks, I do not use recreational narcotics. I couldn't if I wanted to. I don't. If you can show me how to get how to stick an olive into a fentanyl patch, I'd listen to you. But no, if I want anything recreational, it'll be a martini, and I'm not stupid enough to drink liquor while I'm using painkillers. No. I've done many stupid things in my life. That ain't one of them. So let's get to the magical window. I am going to pull back the curtain on the magical window now by ringing a bell 3 times to declare that we are entering sacred space. And by sacred space, I mean that's where we're going to operate in the occult realm and look at the cards and see what they say. And there will be a minimum of sales pitches. Because I don't like to do that anyway. I don't like to hustle products, but this is the time of year that I like to make gift suggestions. And I could say, for instance, before we ring that bell, mojoacademy.org for books there. There's a book there that will change your life, and there are books there that are fun, such as the collection of risque 1960s Bev naps, cocktail napkins. That is a good one. That's a nice, fun, unoccult one. Although the effect of laughter is magical, And then there's a magic-works.com, which is the main website, magic-works.com. You go there and click on occult jewelry, and you'll see some beautiful stuff there. And that gets shipped out from the manufacturer, who is running a sale now. Blast them. They're taking food off my table. But I like saving people money. So if you go to magic-works.com and look at the occult jewelry, remember that's magic with a K, C-K at the end, and you go to occult jewelry, you'll see some beautiful stuff there that can enhance your life. So here we go. We are now in sacred space, and I will pull back the magical windows curtain for Audrey in Oceanside, California. Hi, you're on with Reverend Eliot.
Hello.
Hi, Audrey. How are you tonight?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. What can I look at for you?
I'm hoping to get insight into career and relationships.
Okay, I want to ask you one question first. Have you recently have you been in a relationship that didn't work out?
Yes.
Because the first card I got, and I got this just when you said relationship, is the Three of Swords, and that is what that's about. It's about a relationship that didn't work. It shows us a heart pierced by three swords and crying, and so it was not a good experience, is what this is saying. It's the kind of thing that if it's marriage, this would indicate divorce. It's a breaking up. If you wanted to look at the condition of an entire nation, that card would indicate civil war. So it's not very good. On the other hand, the next card is the Queen of Swords, and the swords are about mental activity. And the royal cards here, the court cards, indicate the formation of ideas. And this is telling me that you're in the process of seeing life in a new way, that your thoughts are changing, that you're growing in terms of the way you see the world. Do you feel that happening?
Yeah, I've felt that way over the last few months.
Yeah, a lot of us have been forced to feel that way, that's for sure. But too many people fight that. But what I see is that it's happening with you, and it's not in the beginning stage. It's in a stage where it's taking formation. So it's not just nebulous; it's coming together. But you're just working this out now. The next two
Yeah,
cards
I'm
are
trying to.
well, you're doing it. That's the important thing. So the cards are saying you're succeeding. The next two cards are also about relationships. These are cup cards. The Four of Cups is a card that I really like getting in these readings because it's mysterious in a way. It's about somebody being interested in you, and this person has not made their intentions known yet. That's the
Okay.
way I interpret. There are many different interpretations of this card, but that's one that really resonates with me when it turns out to be a romantic type question, because it shows a person contemplating the state of their emotional existence, and there's a cloud next to the person, and a hand is coming out offering a new cup, and the person doesn't see it yet. So it means that something unexpected is coming. Good too, because the next card is the Page of Cups. That's a court card, and the Page of Cups, like the swords were about new ways of thinking developing, this is about emotional and relationship things developing. And the page is the appearance. It's completely developed. This is telling me that there is a relationship headed your way, and it's very likely going to be somebody who has an eye on you and is interested in you, but hasn't made that known yet. There's just a little bit. I have the Three of Rods here, which is rods are career, but in this context, it's about waiting for something to appear. So I think that from these cards, what I'm seeing is you went through a bad experience. You're thinking differently now. You're growing and shifting in your perspective and your mind. Your mind is growing, and that's important. And because of that, there's going to be something good coming in terms of a relationship, but it's still got a little bit time to go. But it's on the way because that's what you're doing. Okay?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, because I've not had really good relationships, and I actually lost one of my exes recently. So yeah, I definitely am thinking differently.
Well, let me see if I can get one more card. Okay, well, this is a good one. What's coming is coming sooner than I expected. It's the Eight of Rods, and that's about this. What you're doing is happening. It's not only happening, but it's in its final stages, which means that it's going to come through to you very soon. So keep an eye out for
That's all.
somebody who may seem interested in you that you haven't really paid attention to. Okay.
Okay, I will.
But you're coming. You're. The main thing here is that this whole painful stuff that happened is not only behind you, but good stuff is ahead of you. Oh gosh, I just got
That's all.
the card that I just got is one I would have hoped to get earlier, the Six of Swords, which this is why the tarot cards spook me sometimes. The Six of Swords, swords again, it's mental activity. And this shows a person on rough waters pushing a little boat to calm water. And the accepted meaning of this is that you are getting from where you are to where you want to be through your own efforts. And that verifies what I said about the Queen of Swords, is that you're doing this. You're actively going into a new direction with the way you're operating your thoughts in your mind. So keep it up. It's working. It's good for you. Okay.
Great. It sounds promising.
Beautiful. Thanks for calling.
Yeah. Thank you. Good night.
My pleasure. Bye bye. And let's shuffle the cards. You're listening to. I don't even know if I mentioned this earlier. I was so focused on what I was saying at the end of October, and then I vanished. You're listening to Reverend Eliot's Magical Window with me, Reverend Eliot, on the Ask One Radio Network, where we have been for over 10 years now, getting together. I think this month is my 11th anniversary. We've been getting together every year. Snap out of it. Every Wednesday at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific. You can go to AskOneRadio.com. Look at the archive for the masochists among you for well over 300 back editions of Reverend Eliot's Magical Window, going back to the very beginning, when I didn't know what to expect. You know, I didn't even know if this would work. I had never read tarot cards for people through machinery. I had no idea at all. And now here I am, and I've been doing it now coming up on nigh unto 11 years. And it's fun, and it's helped out. My life has changed. I have actually, now this is odd because I'm like the holdout here, and I know that this isn't going to last. I do a radio gig here, but I'm going to be switching over to video. I mean, there's no avoiding it, because that is now, at this point, it's the wave of the past. You know? But I'm like one of those old-time radio guys who scoffed at television and called it smell-o-vision, and it'll never replace radio. But let's face it, you know, we're going to do that. But I haven't done any of those video things yet here at Ask One Radio, and my picture is up on the recordings of the show. But I've been recognized on the street by people, which is fascinating. Where is my anonymity? My public won't leave me alone. Magdalena in Toms River, New Jersey is next. Hi, you're on with Reverend Eliot.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing right across the river there?
All right, so far.
Well, let's see what we can do to make that better. How's that? You want to take a shot at making things a little better? What can I look at for you? What can the cards show you?
I would like to know about my marriage and my mother-in-law that passed away and my father. If we get a message.
Okay, and you wanted to know about your marriage?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll take a look. I'm sure you know pretty much more than these cards know, but we'll see. I want to...
okay.
Yeah. Because usually when people ask, there's a problem. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But let's see what we can get to. Well, first of all, I want to deal with the message, the question about a message, because there are several cards in the tarot deck that I look for when people ask me about an afterlife reading, and I just got one of them, and that is the Judgment card. The Judgment card shows a picture. You'll understand why when I tell you. The Judgment card shows a picture of an angel blowing a horn and people coming up out of the grave. You know, so that's a pretty clear message that we're dealing with. You know, the Death card is another one. That's really obvious. Of course, the High Priestess is another less obvious because she sees behind the veil. But this is a pretty obvious card. So let's say that that's what's going on. Let's take a look and see what the message is. Okay.
Okay.
Here's a card that I had earlier today just in the previous call, in a different context, though. The Four of Cups. It shows a person who is looking at 3 cups and doesn't see that there's a hand coming out of a cloud offering another cup. That's telling me that this person, the spirit that we've contacted, has been trying to get in touch with you. Do you feel that from anybody in particular?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's my best friend, or it could be my friend's daughter passed away. I'm not sure.
Well, we're just starting, so let's see what we get.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No. This is a conversation. You're entitled to talk, right? You know.
Yeah.
No apologies, not at all. In fact, I'm a blabbermouth, so you can interrupt me any old time. And I'll tell you what I have here now, two cards that I
Okay.
almost always get when I do these readings. Now, this is one of the reasons I wouldn't mind switching to video, because I want people to see these cards so they believe me. But then again, somebody will say, well, you just do card tricks, which, if I did, I wouldn't be here I'd be in Las Vegas if I could do that. So I'd be dealing 21 to a bunch of people, from Canarsie who are too drunk to think. Of course, I'd eventually get run out of town, but Now here we go. This is the first one I get. Is the Ten of Swords.
Okay.
The Ten of Swords is about troubles are over. There was a
No, my phone
usually indicates
died.
a person whose
Hello?
passing was very. Mhm.
Okay.
Hello, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought my
Yeah,
phone
this
died.
card-
I'm so sorry.
No.
Okay.
We're dealing with afterlife, so we can probably get the phone to work a little bit longer, right?
Okay.
In fact, at my website, I have a story of a time my phone died and I used Reiki on it and it came back. That's honestly, anybody should look at that because it blew my mind too. The Ten of Swords is the spirit saying things were very difficult for me at the end, but the troubles are over now. And the next card is the Sun, which is health and healing and growth and happiness. And I almost always get those two cards in that order when I do one of these things. It seems to me that the primary meaning of most of the afterlife messages I get from people is a spirit trying to say, and don't be terribly sad
Okay.
at the time, right?
Right.
So the message is I'm healing, I'm growing, I'm doing well, and it's just it's beyond belief how these things generally start with something very sad and it becomes happy. And I can't. That's the message. The message I'm getting is that I'm healing, I'm growing, I'm doing okay. That's the message from the spirit.
Okay.
And that
I think
and there's a card here of the Lovers, which to me says I love you.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Alone, so yeah.
So that's what I'm getting. Does that help out?
Yes.
Okay, I tell you what I'm going to do. Because I can see, because that card is interesting. The Four of Oh, here's the Death card. See, like I said, that's one of the cards. That's one of the cards I need to know that I'm doing a reading. We started with the Judgment card and we end here with the Death. That's also telling me that the reading, it's done. The spirit is telling me that it's finished. That was the message. That I love you and I had a rough time, but I'm better now and I'm growing.
I'm so bad. Okay.
You now, and I am going to light a white candle after the show to send positive energy to you and to everybody who has been trying to reach you. How's that?
Yeah, thank you so much on that.
Okay. Now, if you need, this show will be, and by tomorrow, maybe earlier, but definitely by tomorrow, will be at the Ask One Radio archives at askoneradio.com. You can listen to it again and listen to that reading because it's a classic reading from an afterlife question, which is, things were very bad for me, but I'm doing much better now, and I miss you and I love you. So
I know who that is.
Oh, good. So listen anytime you want to, because that message, download it and you'll feel better. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Bye now. And we've hit the halfway mark. It's 11:30 Eastern time. Daylight standard. I don't even remember what any of that stuff is. That they used to judge the time one way, that where noon would have been when the sun was up straight above us, which of course really only happens at the equator, but it does happen elsewhere. I can still tell the time by the sun. Even here in New York City, I learned that as a Boy Scout, which was to it's a simple thing to do. You look south. And here on Manhattan Island, I know where north-south, the north-south axis is. You look south, or you pull out your little handy compass. We all carry one, right? look south, and then look at the sun, and the position of the sun will be the hour hand on a watch. That's it. That's all you need. Now it runs fast or slow depending upon the rotation of the Earth. It's called Sunfast. You can find the chart for Sunfast every year in the Farmer's Almanac. The time is not necessarily the time. The time on a sundial is not necessarily the time. It used to be the time, but then they had to standardize time all over the place because of the railroads. That's the secret to making the trains run on time, is change how you calculate time. So now we're stuck with these things. There used to be no different time zones. You know, when it was 11 o'clock in the morning in New York, it was 11 o'clock in the morning in California. To the New Yorker, you know. You see what I mean? But they had to shift everything they had to get time zones in order to deal with the railroads. Beth in Hinniston, Louisiana is next. Did I pronounce that correctly? Hinniston?
Hinniston.
Hinniston. I'm sorry. When I think of Louisiana, I just think about Tabasco sauce. That's my main thing. My mouth starts drooling and I can't even speak. So what can I look at for you, Beth?
I'm just wondering about my relationship. Where's it going?
That is a card of well balanced. It's a good match. It's well balanced. Do you have is it a bit of a hectic relationship? Do you clash and argue a bit?
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, well, I got the 5 of rods, and that's about conflict, but not really nasty conflict. The nasty part is that there is a nasty component, and it's coming up, but it's got nothing to do with you or the person you're involved with. The 5 of rods is just, you know, it's like a dynamic relationship, shall we say that? You have very dynamic discussions, shall we say? But maybe somebody would think that you're fighting, but you're not necessarily fighting.
Okay.
I'm seeing that there's somebody outside of the relationship who is maybe spreading gossip or stuff about you. Do you know about? You feel this? Have you heard about this?
No, not yet, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, well, because that's when I'm seeing that there's somebody's doing that.
It could be my ex.
Oh yeah, well, exes, yeesh, right? You know,
Yeah.
some of them don't know how to let go. Let me tell you though.
Well, I have an aunt, and one of my aunt and my mother that have recently started some rumors about myself. Yes.
Well, that's the 5 of swords. 5s are not that good in tarot cards, and this is about a person who's sneaking around and is trying to destroy and not help you. The next card is the 10 of Cups. The 10 of Cups is a very happy home, and it shows happy people. That's telling me that this person isn't going to succeed. So if you have felt that there's some people working against you, they are. Now, there are things you can do about that.
Okay.
There are, I mean, if you think you know who's doing this, there are things that you can do that are time-honored, magical things that I can tell you about if you want. And this is not like, I'm not going to say, now you've got to buy this oil from me for $700, you know, and no.
Right.
Here's what you do. Did you ever, you know, you go to a dollar store, if there's still dollars, okay, $1.50 store now, right?
Right.
Get a compact, you know, like a cosmetic thing, right? Get one of the compacts, get one of the compacts that has 2 mirrors in it.
Okay.
You've seen them. We all have seen them.
Yes.
Now, here's what you do. You take a picture of the person who's causing you problems, or in the absence of that, just write their name on a piece of paper. Put that in there, in the compact, and close it between the two mirrors and stick it in your freezer. And that'll take care of the energy that person's trying to send out to you.
Okay.
That does wonders doing that. When people are trying to spread negativity. Now you see, this is one of the bones of contention I have with a lot of people. Magical work does not. If somebody's going to charge you $5,000 to do something magically, don't even think about it. You know, because these are traditional things that are simple, and this is not something that. Maybe $200-300, but that was putting together an entire kit for somebody with incense that I made and oils that I blended. You know, the whole night. It was, you know, everybody knows you can go to eBay and get a compact with 2 mirrors for $1, you know, and just, you see what the symbolism is you're bouncing it back and forth, and the putting it in the freezer just freezes the person. So if you think you know who, and don't do this unless you really think you have a clear idea that this is the person doing it, that can tie them up and just get them off your back. And people like this have a habit of giving up, because you are going to come out of this okay. I see the 10 of Cups here. But that's just the main thing here, is that the Temperance card shows it's a well-balanced relationship. It's a very dynamic relationship, so people might think that it's a little rocky, but it's not. And you got somebody who is going to be actively being destructive about your relationship, and you're going to handle it, and that's going to come out okay for you. Okay?
Okay.
So if you want any more things like that, you could just send me an email. This goes for anybody listening. My email is asktarot, ASKTAROT, at earthlink.net, which shows you how long I've been online, earthlink.net, and I will be happy to send you a few little things you can do for things like that. There's never any charge for that kind of advice. So, you know, I'm not one of these people who bills you every time you contact me, unless you're annoying. You know, but you're not. You know, I haven't yet run into anybody that annoying. Okay, thanks for calling, Beth. And also, I might say to Beth, thank you for being very considerate when I mangled the name of your town. We're going to shuffle the cards up now. That's a really neat trick, too. Some people will also take the compact and bury it. You know, that's heavy duty, you know. But I just say put it in the freezer. Put that compact in the freezer. There are other things you can do to return negative energy. There's you know, there are stores like the Luck Shop in Chicago, been around since the 30s. Azure Green, which used to do business under the name Abyss in New England, they're dynamite people, man. I've been buying from them for like 30 years. They're almost as long as they've existed. There are candles, things of that nature that you can use to return negative energy. And if ever there's a time needed to protect yourself from negative energy, it's this, because the country went through a massive mental shock, what with the lockdowns and now the economy crashing and, you know, all of that. And there's really nasty people out there. I like to think the best of people, but there are very nasty people out there, and you got to combat them, and that means protecting yourself. I can show you, there are places you can look at my website, magic-works.com, magick-works.com, that will show you recordings that you can get that will cleanse your aura through meditation. It's all good stuff. If you want any direction in that, just drop me a line. Ask Tarot at earthlink.net, or just do an internet search. I'm trying not to say Google. Try to do an internet search for Reverend Eliot's Magical Window. You'll very likely find a way to contact me. I'm very easy to find. I said at the top of the show that I'd make a terrible junkie, but I would make an even worse fugitive, because I'm so easy to find. Rosemary in Largo, Florida is next. Hi, Rosemary. You're on with Reverend Eliot. Yeah.
Hi, thank you for taking my call.
That's what I'm here for.
I would like to, I would like to know if there's any chance that I would get any money from the sale of
From the sale of what?
this fuel system?
It's breaking up. You want to know if you get any money from the sale of something?
To the sale of my mother's house, because the
Oh.
government has stolen pretty much everything. So
Well, yeah.
not just me, 400,000 people in England have been, that has happened to them. So
Yikes. Um, okay, this is very good. The first card I got is the justice card. That speaks for itself, right? You're going to get justice. The Knight of Coins. The Knight of Coins means that's the beginning of the process of money coming in. Well, that's very good. So, okay, but it's going to be a long haul, according to what I'm seeing here. The Chariot is here. You're going to need to be really strong about guiding this effort.
okay.
The Chariot is about a person. So the symbolism of the Chariot is this. Once you see the symbolism, you'll get why it's here. There's a small chariot, and the person who's in charge of the chariot, riding the chariot, is holding the reins on two horses. One is white and one is black. One wants to go this way, one wants to go that way. It's up to you to make sure that it goes the way you want. Now, as somebody who just spent like 2 years involved in a lawsuit, I can attest to that. It takes willpower and strength to do it. And by the way, that it turned out okay. What we went through here, it turned out okay. But you got to be strong about this, because the Knight is the start of it. And with the Knight, it can go up and down. It can look good. It can look bad. It's just going to have to grow. Then it goes to the Queen, to the King, and the Page. And by the time it gets to the Page of Coins in a reading, it's real and it's coming. Overall, I'm seeing excellent chances of success here, because I have the World card. If you can hang on, if you can hold on, and you can do this, you'll get the justice you deserve. The World card means assured success.
I don't have a choice of any kind of legal proceedings for me personally, except that I'm the daughter. That's it.
Yeah.
And also, it's such a system that you can't fight the government. And I have written them nasty emails because they've stolen from me. But I mean, I can continue to do that, and let's see where it goes. But I haven't held out any hope for that. It could be that what you're seeing financially for me, it might mean that in that regard, it doesn't necessarily mean that I may get something from them, but they're crooked.
It's definitely always worth consulting a lawyer in this case, in this kind of case.
Well, I already did.
Yeah,
this has gone over years.
Yeah. No, I had no doubt about that. I'm just because you're obviously an intelligent person, and you know that you're caught in the middle of something, and it sounds like you know what the odds are against you. But I'm seeing pretty decent. I mean, I'm getting cards here that are with very good outcomes here. Here's the Strength card. That goes hand in glove with the Chariot. Just hang in there and see it.
That's because of who I am.
Yeah. Well, and if you aren't that way, you can get ground down. Now, I happen to. I mean, I've seen people get crushed and lose their minds under legal pressure. So you got to, if you're not strong, you'll either end up strong or you won't. You'll end up the opposite of strong. But you are strong. Now, there are things you can do in terms of getting money from a real estate transaction which in its loosest form this is, wouldn't you say? I mean, it's not a good one, but that's what it is. There are magical things you can do. Look up, do an internet search for house sale and St. Joseph and see what you get, okay? Because there'll be things
Yeah,
that you
but
could
that
do.
doesn't. The government has my parents' house, which is
No,
set for sale,
yeah,
which they now have, or in the process of selling. They have all the strings.
yeah, well, I'm just saying this might be something on the astral plane that can do, that will help maybe get some of it off to you. You know, try to do it that way in a sense and see, and keep thinking about
I
that.
will. I mean, there are things that on a spiritual level that I can, because I don't know if you read my question, but I'm a reader. Okay, I've been a reader for many years,
Hmm.
and there are things that I could do,
Yes.
that ethereal. Okay, to ask for help, because I would need that. I would truly need that help because the rest of it is just crap and crooked.
Yeah.
It's just,
Well, I know
that's all there is to it.
it's clear talking to you that you know the difference, like, because you've run into the same kind of situations I have, where people don't want to do something legal and they'll say, oh, I'll just handle it through meditation and prayer. And I keep saying to people like that, get a lawyer, but there's a time and a place for both. And I know that you're aware of it. So, and this, I'm just saying right now, I'm just doing this for the benefit of the people listening, because there's a story that I tell in one of my books, which is pompously titled Reverend Eliot Explains It All, about a person who went into an occult store. I was there at the time, who was having a problem, a big legal problem, and wanted a magical kit to spread love in the world in order to win the court case, and the people wouldn't sell him anything. Her, actually. It was. I don't know why I'm misgendering all of a sudden, but it must be. My memory is fading from this. It's so many years back, but she just definitely wanted to do. I don't need a lawyer. I'm going to spread love and sunshine. No, you can do both, if you know what I mean. And I know you know that.
Mm-hmm.
So all I can tell you is that the cards are showing me that you will get justice. So I'm hoping that it's good in that sense, because the cards are taking a snapshot of now, and that could change. But if any time down the line, if you can't get through again to the show, send me an email.
I've always said that if I came into any money, which anybody, that can happen to anyone, okay, that I probably would take up legal action. I tried everything. I wrote to everybody and their mother. I even put up a petition on, I did everything that you could possibly do. And I found out that 400,000 people had the same crap happen to them. So you can't fight the system like that.
Oh no, yeah, years ago this happened with of all people, my mother-in-law, who took a perfectly, totally, completely, 100% legal tax deduction, and then 2 years later the government reversed that tax deduction and retroactively charged everybody who used that tax deduction with cheating. And we fought like hell. Can you imagine? I mean, that's just plainly unconstitutional anyway, because it's
so
an
ridiculous.
it's an ex post facto law. So yeah, it sounds like you're up against a similar thing. But there's ways to deal with these things. And I've got one. I have like 2 minutes left, so I've got to run. But there's the one card that I just took out, I had earlier today, is the Ten of Swords. And that is a card that, that card. It means that the worst is over. They threw their worst at you and you're still here. So you're a survivor and you'll come through this. And I have no doubt that you'll come through. You may not get everything you want, but I think you're going to get something out of this. And
yes, I thank you for that. Oh, you know what else I practice? I practice EFT. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yes. Are you talking about tapping?
So I practice. I practice EFT as well. So I'm tapping on that because I've been practicing for 20-something years, and it actually works.
Yes,
so
it does. I mean, I don't talk about that much. But because I don't want to spread myself too thin with the audience. But yeah, people should look into EFT, and it looks ridiculous, but it works. And I'll tell you something else, folks.
Amazing.
It can knock out a migraine headache.
Yep.
So I've got to run, but so everybody just take a look at EFT.
But thank you so much.
And,
Thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
my
Thank
pleasure.
you.
And contact me anytime at asktarot@earthlink.net, and I can pull a few more cards for you if you'd like.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You have a good
Bye-bye
night.
now. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, and that's it. We've hit the end of the road, and if history is any judge, I'll be back in March of next year. No, I'll be back next week. I so did miss you. It was difficult, especially Wednesdays when I couldn't, well, listen to me, I chatter a lot. Now picture me with laryngitis. Not good. It's contrary to my nature. I don't like language, by the way, although everything I've ever done professionally in life has been about writing and language. And I've come to the conclusion, aside from the fact that the world's richest person doesn't know how to make a noun plural, I've come to the conclusion that language, for the most part, is used to hide thoughts and not to share them. Just, everybody's watching politics these days. Politics has replaced stand-up comedy and fashion models as the entertainment source of the year. So you'll see, you know what I mean. They can use language in a way to hide what they're saying. And I don't like that. I believe in plain speaking and saying what you mean and meaning what you say. There you go. If you want to know more about what I say, check out that book I mentioned, Reverend Eliot Explains It All, which is an expanded version of the first book I did, which is the collected essays of Reverend Eliot. All of those are in that book, but the book goes a lot longer, and it's got 300 pages or so in there, and it's got my pumpkin pie recipe, which is even better with sweet potatoes than it is with pumpkin. But that's all a different story. I've got to run now. I will see you all again next week at 11 Eastern, 10 Central, 9 Mountain, and 8 Pacific when we pull back the curtain on the magical window. And until then, remember, who you are is the universe's gift to you. Who you become is your gift back to the universe. Bye-bye now.